in 2007, I had attempted suicide.
Mm.
A lot of people didn't know, but after that, I had lost all kind of weight and just kind of disappeared into my mama basement. And I would
Mm.
work and do what I'm supposed to do, but not taking on life like as a grown adult. Like I would pay
Mhm.
rent, pay rent, but you in your mama basement still, and you
Mhm.
working full time and you make good money. So why you in your mama basement? But it was more so of it was like a stronghold over me, like
Mm.
of depression. And like I would get off work and just come straight home and just eat and lay down. And it, I remember talking to Relinda and was like, when I was thinking about finally moving out, this was like 2018 ish. And she was like, yeah, it's just, she bought me a Bible for me, for my first apartment and everything. And prior to that, she was like, "Oh, well, you can just pray, to feel better." But I told her that I could not get close to God while I was in this basement.
Hey everyone, welcome to the living room. So glad to have you back and welcome to my podcast listeners. Welcome back. I'm so excited for this episode. It is a continuation to living in good health and the play on words, living in God health, right? So last time I talked about and being on GLP-1 medication, talked about the importance of getting yourself in good health, right? And how important it is in this season to get yourself in good health, and not just good health, but the way that God intend for us to be, right? It is a prerequisite for God on to get us in a certain position because of purpose. And I believe more so now than ever, it is time to just really kind of take control of your health. And I talked about the physical aspects last time, but this time I kind of want to go a little deeper. And I do have a guest. I told you guys this was a new season, that I was going to do something different, a little something out of my comfort zone. So I have a special guest with me on this episode, and I'm so excited to bring him on. Very dear and close to me. So this makes this little transition a little easier. So my podcast listeners, you probably won't see, but you'll hear his voice. But if you do want to watch videos, this podcast is available on YouTube. And you just search the living room. You can look up my name, Relinda C. McCoy, and the living room should pop up. And you guys know I transitioned from the sounds of my emotions, but now we're in the living room. So we're going to get started without hesitation. Welcome to the living room. So I'm going to add my guest in. So I want you guys to, if you want to comment, say hi. We read the comments. I read the comments. So I'm going to bring him in and welcome Jason. Y'all, this is my bestie. This is my bestie. Hey, bestie.
How you doing? How you doing? Praise the Lord.
See, we look, we got to have some decorum because look, this is my best friend. So how I speak with you guys on here is it was just me and y'all, right? But I have my best friend on here, so forgive us in advance for cutting up. But I couldn't think of someone more fitting for this conversation than, my best friend, because we've been knowing each other for over 20 years. I can't even count no more. Over 20 years since high school, and I'm 43, so that's saying a lot. Um, but we've been through, things together. We know each other's journey, and one in particular is just basically our health journey. Health, and then also just mental things, and just all things that come with family issues and things like that. We're able to talk with each other. So Jason is just not my best friend. Jason is, I mean, he got the expertise. He has a master's in public health, and he's in doing his doctorate currently. So look, my best friend gonna be a doctor. So what is your doctorate in?
It's a PhD in public health with a specialization in community health.
Okay. See, qualified for the conversation. But if not, he was gonna come on anyway. Um, so the last time that I talked, like I said, I was talking about GLP-1 medications and just like this journey. So he knows, firsthand the struggles that I've been through. Matter of fact, I would feel guilty because he would start in front of me, started losing weight and getting healthy in front of me, and he would make me feel guilty because every time I talk about eating something bad, he'll come up with like, well, I'm eating this. Well, I'm not eating that sugar. Well, I'm not. And I'm like, and it made me kind of feel bad. But I consider him like my what do you call it? Accountability person. And whether he know it or not, he kind of kept me in check. Like I got to do something with my life. I got to do something with this. And we would talk about our airport journeys and stuff. And I don't want to just keep on dragging on, but so let me just kick off with this. Um, so let's start off with your weight journey. So what did you start off with?
Like the number?
Yeah. If you don't mind.
Well, my highest, so the highest I was before I started the journey was 376. So
Mm,
24 pounds away from 400. Um, but at that time, I was still, I was working full time and still living in my mama basement. and, um, and still going through a depression because
mm,
in 2007, I had attempted suicide.
mm,
A lot of people didn't know, but after that, I had lost all kind of weight and just kind of disappeared into my mama basement. And I would
mm,
work and do what I'm supposed to do, but not taking on life like as a grown adult. Like I would pay
mm,
rent, pay rent, but you in your mama basement still, and you
mhm,
working full time and you make good money. So why you in your mama basement? But it was more so of it was like a stronghold over me, like
mm,
of depression. And like I would get off work and just come straight home and just eat and lay down. And it, I remember talking to Relinda and was like, when I was thinking about finally moving out, this was like 2018 ish. And she was like, yeah, it's just, she bought me a Bible for me, for my first apartment and everything. And prior to that, she was like, "Oh, well, you can just pray, to feel better." But I told her that I could not get close to God while I was in this basement. It was
mm,
weird. It was like
mhm,
just certain things just hindered me, my mentality from even going there. Like I don't know if the house was whatever, but it wasn't until 2018 that same year, my brother he planned a brother's trip to go to Mexico, and that's how it all started.
mhm,
First having to get a seatbelt extender and your back hurting walking through the airport. Like my back was hurting, I couldn't even walk through O'Hare Chicago airport. My brother, he was so mad and annoyed, he made me get in a wheelchair and like push me like, come on. And I'm like, all right. We get to Mexico, everything is fine, it's fun, and we going on all these excursions and we go on zip lining. I get in the line for zip lining and I fainted. And
mm,
long story short, I got back to America and that I found out that I was pre-diabetic and
mm,
numbers, sugar and all that was all jacked up. So I I didn't really know too much about, like I knew, like sugar is bad and XYZ, but it wasn't until they assigned me a nutritionist, as well as I had to start taking metformin, which is the diabetes medication, and they give it to people who are pre-diabetic as well. Um, But since then, that shifted because that medication, like you talk about your GLPs and stuff, to me, like metformin was my GLP,
Mm-hmm.
like, because I lost 30 pounds off of that. And listening to the nutritionist, I'm like, she was like, oh, okay, if you like potato chips, just eat popcorn. If you like this, just eat that. And I'm like, okay, eat this instead of that and make it to how you want it to taste. And it kind of worked out. I was like, I'm gonna do this low carb thing because I lost 30 pounds, and I was like, I'm gonna keep it up. I was still,
Yeah.
my coworkers started walking with me every day at lunch, so we would walk, and then we would eat healthy lunches, and I would bring the first week, she would bring the next week, back and forth. But so I had, prior to pandemic, I would say that I lost maybe like 40, 45 pounds, and when pandemic happened, um I was living alone and I had no family, no, you couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, I am about to do this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
my self efficacy had just kind of risen. Like, I am about to keep it up on my own. They took me off the metformin. They said my levels came down to regular, but I was in a way like, oh no, don't take it away from me. Don't take that metformin because that was the helper, and
Mm-hmm.
for me, if I ate bad or ate too many carbs or too much sugar, you
Yeah.
would have like an explosion, number
Mm-hmm.
number two. So, um to reduce those instances, I just like, okay, I'm gonna do low carb just forever, like see how it goes and this and that. um it wasn't until 2021 I was like, okay, I need a new goal because I had lost about 80 pounds. I got down to 310 or something, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, about 300. And I was like, well, I want to go indoor skydiving, but for the indoor skydiving, you have to be 274 pounds or less.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's the new goal. I got it because I want to do it. And people who have never been big don't understand the things that you cannot do when you are overweight. They don't think
Mm-hmm.
about you getting kicked off of a roller coaster at Great America because it won't pull up, or the airport incidences, or hell, like anything, like
Mm-hmm.
literally. And me being a big person my whole life, I always just like took that as like, well, this is just the way it is. But it was until I had lost some of the weight first, and I was like, oh, this is a whole new world. Like, I can fit this and I can wear this now because in bigger sizes, they don't. A lot of clothes don't come, so you got, it's slim pickings when you when you get to a store, or you just try to order online. So I was in it 2021. So I get on Facebook, and Relinda saw this post. I had did a research study on the how to reduce heart disease, your risk for
Mm-hmm.
heart disease, and it literally said like walking 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day can drastically reduce heart disease. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do that, but I need some people to walk with. So I made a post on Facebook and was like, letting them know about the findings of my research study. And like, I'm like, I want to go to, it's a park here called Wicker Park. And I said, I want to go to Wicker Park and start a walking group. Like, but y'all don't hear me. Y'all not trying to get out there. And then next thing you know, I started getting all these inboxes and all these comments and saying, I need to walk. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I had a good 10 people crew, and we did it every Tuesday and Thursday at Wicker Park, for the whole summer of 2021 and then 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just been basically for me, and it's not for everybody. I had to find out how to lose my weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, how
Yeah.
to lose my weight and how to stay active, because I pretty much lived a sedent what's the word, sedative,
Sedentary.
sedentary
Sedentary. Sedentary.
a, a,
Sedentary.
a, a sit still lifestyle. That's how I was. That's how I was living. And when I got to walking and moving, I'm like, oh, it's fun outside, like a little bit. It's people out here, but it's fun. And
Mm-hmm.
I would, Verlinda, she knows because she joined the group. She joined the walking group.
I did, and went like a couple times, but them couple times was good.
exactly. And we all like we're all different shapes, sizes, ages, and
Mhm.
we just motivated each other. Like yeah, you got this, you got this. Just one time around the around the park, but that was what 3 miles, a little bit over
Mhm.
3 miles. So yeah, we were doing it.
That's and one thing, see, one thing y'all have to know about Jason is that it's something with his personality where he gets whatever he does, whatever he kind of headlines, everybody jumps on board. Like he's a natural leader. He pulls people to motivate and do something. I don't know. It just be like, okay, we gonna do it, and everybody be on board. And I'm just like, well, I mean, naturally has influence. And I think that it's just so good. Just even, like I said, our journeys, even with that journey, and like you said, from your perspective, you said you were, big all your life. And on my side, because like I said, we know each other way back. I was skinny and then got bigger. So then it's like it's the similar, but it's different because but it's similar in these ways because we're gonna get into that, slide right into that right now on because there's reasons. The weight don't just come on, right? The weight just don't come on. You're not really eating because you're hungry. And Jason kind of touched on it, which is where he was at, right? He was in his mom's basement and he was going through depression. And I was going through depression as well. Get married, you guys. I'm not gonna get to that whole story today. But I have told my testimony how, I went into the wrong marriage. And in that frustration, I'm going to just make it short. I gained so much weight. Like I remember going one summer and coming back with 20 pounds on my body. Because I just just kind of just let everything go. And I remember my family being so shocked. Like, ooh, you got bigger. Like, they were like, you got what? I'm like, but all I can remember, the only thing I did was I don't know. I didn't drink enough water. I do remember that. I would get up and drink juice. And you know what they say about drinking your calories. You don't know that you're drinking on literally pounds because of the sugar and what it's turning into. So I came back with like a little good and it just added on to it. But that was, that was a trauma that I didn't know was a trauma. That was something that I was pushing through because it was something that was empty in me. I only wanted to get married because there was an emptiness inside of me. But with that conflict going on within myself, I'm treating my body bad. My mental battles caused me to traumatize my body. And I think, I can't speak so much, but I know, some of Jason's story. So, what was it for you? Like, even you being a kid, you know, what was your mind as far as like your eating habits or, what was going on?
Um, pretty much just whatever tasted good.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted. I was always one of those. I don't know, greedy. But I also, but I also like did a lot of transitioning, like in my childhood. Like
Mm-hmm.
when your parents separate when you're 5 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
then you go. I went to go live with my great grandmother, and she raised me until first grade, and then I went to go move with my grandmother with my other brother who was already living there, so stayed there until seventh grade, and then my mom's husband at the time said, "Y'all got to come home. We're gonna be a family." And and he was an abusive ex husband to her and to the rest of them. Um, and so the food thing kind of just was the comforter anyway,
Mm-hmm.
like my whole life, because what else? Like like what else or who else? And I was always raised in the church since I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Still always believe in God, still believe in God. Ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing changed, but it wasn't it wasn't my religion that could make me stop eating. It was these outside factors, like outside factors. So I kind of, I really feel like more churchy people should be talking about
Mhm.
therapy, because why else did God put therapists here? If a lot, I don't know, if a lot of our parents and grandparents that are like sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues, all that, if a lot of them went to therapy too, I feel like some of these outcomes might have been a little different. Now, I'm not blaming. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Mhm.
just saying. So since I'm the adult now, I made the decisions that yes, I will still believe in God, and yes, I will go to therapy. So I've been in therapy intensively since 2020. Um,
Mhm.
the pandemic, everything happened. The pandemic happened. I'm at home doing therapy. I'm working out, doing push-ups on the couches, and trying to just fight demons, inner demons,
Mhm.
and then I had just started the master's program for public health. So I was really just,
Mhm.
like really in tune with, I guess I was too busy to fall. Like I was just very aligned spiritually, mentally, physically, everything was like coming into it. And um I don't know, I just thank God for like the people that I've met along this way too, because sometimes sometimes Christians think they got all the answers, and it's what they say because they're so filled with the Holy Ghost. But someone told me a long time ago at my old job, um, one of my patients, because I work in healthcare, one of the patients came in, and she she was looking, a little disheveled, and hair was all over the place and kind of a little dirty, and she came in and kind of was like prophesying to me, and I was, I don't try to disregard people and stuff, but the way she
Mhm.
was looking, I was like, so I told my coworker, I was like, yeah, I was like, this lady said she said I'm gonna be well known, and I'm gonna do good things, and help change the world for the good or something. And then I was telling my coworker, like, look at her though, look at her. And then she was like, let me tell you something. God can use a donkey to get a word through to you. And ever
Mhm.
since then, I completely changed my whole process. Like, people who talk to you don't have to come wrapped in this gift bag, a gift bag or a present or whatever. Like, I listen to every little thing from every little person, and it's up to me to, like, if I want to take heed to it or not. But um yeah, I don't know if that answered the question.
It did. It did because I don't know. I just feel, you know, um, like I spoke with the last episode, people are very judgmental with people that use medication and say, well, why can't you just exercise? Why can't you just, do what you're supposed to do, eat right? But like you said before earlier, people that have never been fat or people that have not gained the weight or been in mental positions where that's a result, one of your choices was to eat, you they have no idea. And like I said, it starts with the mind. It is a mindset. So what they're kind of telling you is that, well, have some willpower, go stop eating or whatever, but it's mental, right? It's
It is.
mental, and you gotta deal with some things, and that's the part of this topic, was to like deal with the root. I kind of wanted to go deeper from where I went last week, because last week I kind of just did a little surface, but I wanted to just get deeper into that and get behind that, because people don't understand, even those that can lose the weight, statistics show, and this happened to me, that you gonna gain that weight and some. Like I remember losing, you remember, Jason, I lost a good amount of weight, maybe about 50 pounds. And even that, and I talked about in the other episode, but I lost it. And that's only because of the circumstances that was around me. I didn't even really have enough money to eat what I wanted to eat. And I was going through, functionally depressed, didn't even know. And I needed resources and things. So my thing was, well, I'm just trying to get through the day. So that inside, not getting fat because I had enough money to buy food, but I lost weight, and exercising was a way for me to keep busy. But I did not deal with the mental battles. I did not deal what was going on with me. And guess what? Some years later, when everything was good, I got a good job, I gained that weight right on back. and so now I'm in a different space where I have a healthier relationship with food. Even though the circumstances is better, I got healed from depression and a whole bunch of other things. And now I have a sober mind, and now I've dealt with things. So now I feel like, okay, now I can put my body first. Now I can make better choices because my mind was in a space where I couldn't do that. And to know that I had gained, let me see, my lowest that I was, what was it? Maybe like 180 before I started gaining a lot of weight. And then going up to almost 300 pounds. That's crazy. And you get comfortable in that, but then not knowing. And I just want to kind of just emphasize that if it's impossible for you to lose it naturally, you got to go deeper. Like you said,
Yeah.
go. Nothing wrong with seeing the therapist. There's nothing
And
wrong with
that's
that.
like people who have bipolar and schizophrenia and all these
Mhm.
other mental conditions. And there are people in our community that look down on people for taking psych meds and for taking mental health medications. Same thing. They can't
Mhm.
stop being bipolar just on their own. Like, what's
Right.
wrong with getting the help that they need? But like I said, that's to me it's like a culture, because if you ask a different people their thoughts about it,
Mhm.
it would vary by race, socioeconomic status, by
Mhm.
education, by all those things. Like, and that's one thing I told you a while ago about our community and our traditions that keep us fat. Like, okay, we gonna go to church, and then after church we gonna smash,
Ooh,
and
Jesus.
then on so and so birthday we about to smash, and then on Thanksgiving we gonna smash, Christmas we gonna smash, things, New Year's we smashing, and then you even had a tradition of your Valentine your Valentine's Day
That gave
smash,
me diabetes.
smash
Listen,
it.
listen, I have been pre-diabetic for a while. I remember I went all out. I had a whole box of chocolates, and I had like lobster with extra butter and all this other stuff. And I think I went and had took some tests a month after or something like that. I came back, it was full on diabetes. I said, I said that was just from Valentine's Day. Because I was ridiculous. I had like cake, I had a whole box of chocolates, and like you said, I smashed. I ate it all. And not even then, just in hindsight, maybe I was even in the space then, that lonely feeling. So I'm just gonna eat that was my comfort.
Right, that, I mean, it was Valentine's Day, so yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
holidays mess you up.
yeah. It,
So
it will.
yeah, it's just a mental thing. It
It's
be mental things that just be going on that people don't deal with. And like you said, we're just okay. We can get into like faith and church and Christianity. And me even looking at statistics, 7 out of 10 adults are obese. So to me, it's not necessarily food. To me, that even signifies like we're talking about the mental battles. People being able to cope with life. That's what I'm seeing behind these numbers. People inability to
yeah,
cope with life. And I mean, it's not like our food, especially in the United States, is the best. So
right.
we're sitting eating chips, snacks, and the portions are like double. People go out to eat, it's double. So then
Hmm.
you're eating like quadruple, double the amount than you should cooking at home. And it's really become that comforter when, as a Christian, it's taught that, Jesus is supposed to be your comforter. You're supposed to comfort yourself and meditate on him day and night and everything. But I believe that I want to say, unfortunately, a lot of Christians don't believe that, and it shows with the health habits. Because if that was so, and him being that fixer, heart comforter, I think a lot of times, and that's where therapy comes in, because you need to talk some stuff out. Some things you just can't solve coming and hearing a sermon. You got to talk, and there's nothing wrong, like you said, with talking to someone. And I would advise that does believe, in the same things that you do, but they know how to break things down in a way where maybe the beliefs or something can make sense to you, where it's applicable, and that's why the living room, this is what, plugging this in. That's why the living room and where God has put me in is the living room, is to show you how to live. And a lot of people might even just see this as that, oh, it's boring. It's talking about health. I ain't talking about relationships. I ain't talking about scandalous stuff or whatever. But no, these are things that we need to apply to have a fruitful and prosperous and purposeful life. We talk about the airport. People say that they're called to do this and God wants me to travel here, travel there. But you get to that airport will humble you. You know what I mean? It's a shame where if you got to do the work of the Lord and got to have assistance all the time.
Mhm.
Your knees hurting, you can't barely breathe. All it took for me one time was, like I said, almost needing a seatbelt extender. Going to a beach, I mean vacation. You land, first of all, you got to take a nap before you even get started with the activity. So that's number one. That's red flag number one. Number two, you going through the beach, you eating, and you can't even breathe. You like,
I
I
wasn't that big. I wasn't that big.
miserable. Oh,
No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just
like this is miserable. So to me, I always think of myself on the airplane. And I don't know. That's one thing that keeps me going and motivated, is that God, I mean, and it's really silly when you think about it. God, why would I let me not being able to stop eating cookies remove me from where you want me to be at? You
right.
know, I can't travel as far. I can't go as far because, I might pass out, or I might have a heart attack. And over some cookies? No.
Right. Right. Because and then yeah, that's true because you know how they say health brings wealth, and
Yep.
sometimes when the saints are trying to, maybe let's say they're trying to minister to somebody in the streets, so sometimes it can seem like a walking
Mhm.
contradiction,
Yeah.
because how can you tell them to put the crack pipe down and you ain't putting the cookies down? So it's like,
It's an addiction.
yeah, like, and but I don't. My thing is, like, I just don't like when when people are very holier than thou and then are pointing all the stars in your eyes out, but are
Mhm.
not seeing their own. And I'm like, well, let's talk about everything if we're gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I don't know. It's just, and that's just kind of like for me. I don't accept well when I can clearly see that somebody else is struggling too, that's trying to give me a message or trying to tell me what I need to do or do better or change or whatever. I'll just be like, oh, okay. Okay, all right.
But
Like,
you know what? The caveat in that is I don't think they really know
right,
or embrace. Of course, like you said, that's Bible, what you said, about the log in the eye. How you going to see the stick in my eye and you got this log just there and you can't see it, that you got, and I think because of, and it got to do with, like you just explained earlier, culture. It's culturally normal for us African Americans to eat, overeat, and being thick is celebrated. Being, a little, just having it, oh, that's just a little extra meat. Oh,
mm,
that's just a little extra weight. That's a little extra pounds. But then when it causes health problems, all of a sudden we want to say prayers and pray diabetes off of people. We want to do this. No, make better choices,
right,
right? And know that that's
right.
wrong. Just because it's cultural does not mean that's the abundant life that God wants you to have. God didn't say continuously eat and I'm gonna cover you.
That, yeah, that part, because in a lot of us, we don't do anything about the problem until there is a problem or until something
Mhm.
happens to us. Like, I fell out in Mexico. Yeah, that made me jump real quick and start to do
Yeah.
something, but I should have been looking at the numbers way before then and doing preventative measures, so I
Mhm.
wouldn't pass out in Mexico. But that's pretty much what we do for the most part, especially African American men. Like we rarely go to the doctor,
Mhm.
period, and then we 50 years old and then find out XYZ. And
Mhm.
you could have known XYZ when you were 40 that was going to be a problem, and to prevent it from happening. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, even in to move over there too, it's like a education too.
Yep.
Not knowing what your condition, because a lot of times I notice a lot of people go to the doctor and don't understand what the doctor is saying. They'll say, "Oh, I'll put you on medication," or they'll take something they don't even know what it does. And this is another thing that we do is we'll still eat the way we eat and take insulin or take whatever medication, thinking, "Oh, well, because I'm going to take my insulin, I'm going to eat this extra piece of cake."
Hmm.
It comes with choices. Like, that's going to help you get on the right track, but in the meantime, you still need to make right choices.
Exactly. And then just know that it's like a lifetime span. It ain't like
Yes.
you eat salad for 1 week and like, yeah, I did that. I did that. That don't mean you got to eat salad for the rest of your life, and that don't mean you ain't gonna stop eating cake too. It's just like balancing it.
Time.
Like me neither. It's like balancing it,
Yeah.
and not just going full, just full fledged on your whatever the reason is that's causing you. Because it could be someone has a thyroid condition, and then they're gaining weight or whatever, and have just them numbers matter. That's in your my chart, and if you ever go to your my chart and just played around in it and just scroll, it like literally tries to set it up like that like an eighth grader can read it. Like it'll be in red. Okay, this is red. This means alert, alert. Like what do those numbers mean? Like, and then you can
Mhm.
go ahead and write it down and talk to your doctor at your next appointment. But definitely check those numbers. Like even if you don't know what the hemoglobin and all of that stuff means, like just write it down and talk to your doctor, and they will answer. They will answer because those are like your CBC, like
Mhm.
your all your blood counts, everything. Just let them explain it to you, but write it down so it can be quick because 9 times out of 10 they have 20 minutes to meet with you. So
Mhm.
that's just like a little tip. And as for a nutritionist, if you can.
That's it. Yep. And that's advocating for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just wait till something get broke, and then most of the time, you're going to the ER, you're going to whatever, and it's like you let it go too far gone because you didn't ask questions, like you said, preventative measures. And I think what changed my mindset with the whole eating, I don't know, it flipped over. I'm not gonna go back over it, but I don't know, it just turned into eating to live and not living to eat. Like, I'm not looking forward to the next piece of cake or dessert or whatever. Like, ooh, I can't wait till, Monday. It's just like, well, I'm just eating because it's nourishing my body. It's helping me to move. It's helping me to wake up. It's fueling my body so I can do more, so I can focus. So that's one good thing I would say, being on the Zepbound, the GLP-1 medication, is that I don't know, it like reset my mind to that. And like I said, it's not a magic pill. You take it so you in hopes that you want to develop good habits. And while you're developing good habits, it gives you that mind space to not focus on food, but now you're really dealing with your mind. You're really dealing with why was I leaning towards food like that? you know Now it's giving me more options to distract myself. Like,
Hmm.
okay, let me go work on that project that I said I was going to do. Let me go write my book. Let me go, create some content or something.
Hmm.
So it frees you up. And once you're in good practice and good habitual habits like that, then you won't hold food at such a high regard. And then it's also allowing you to be in a good mental space. Because when you feel good mentally, everybody gonna know. Everybody is gonna know when you are, because you enter the world, you walk into a space confident, and confident attracts a lot of good things for you.
Yeah, well, and it's crazy you say that because that's one thing that I'm still working on
Mm,
is because, like I said, I've always been big my whole life, and so what, 376, and now I'm at 260, so that's
mm,
117 pounds. I lost like 117 pounds, and then the way people look at you now, and you still feel like the 400-pound person.
mm.
Um, I'm still working on my confidence as
Yeah.
who I am today. Because I
Mhm,
was always the Big J, and the life of the party, and make everybody laugh, and he the class clown. And now it's like I'm grown and I want to be taken seriously.
mhm.
Like like I don't know. It's just a mental thing too to lose the weight. That's a whole
Yeah.
nother podcast. And then you could talk about that once you like get it real into your journey, because I'd like to see your thoughts on that, or if any of your listeners have thoughts on that too, because I've heard this on like people that was on like my 600-pound life, or
Mhm,
like the big shows and stuff, but I never experienced it because I never thought I was going to lose any weight. But
mm, mhm.
now I was like, people treat you differently. They
Yeah,
they
yeah.
they talk to you differently. Like people, of course, flirt more, and things like that. I remember talking to you like last week, and you said, what was the change that about people treating you? How did people
Mhm.
treat you when you lost weight? And I said, what? That everybody want to fall in love with me? No, but that was a joke. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you notice the treatment is not is different than you were when you were bigger, and then I don't have to exert as much energy to like to be seen. Like to be
Mhm,
seen, because when you're big like I was, I don't know. It's like they put you in a category or something, or like, oh,
mhm.
that's the big funny guy, or oh, he's such a big teddy bear. Like, you got to be all them things just because you're big as head, just because you're big. But um, now I don't have all of those adjectives with me, and it's like, okay, now who am I? Like, you know what I'm saying? That makes
Mm, yep.
sense.
Mhm.
Like, I'm just Jay. I'm just Jay.
Yeah, but look, behind the fact, who am I? Like
Right.
behind like you said, you had to try to be funny to compensate
Yeah.
for that. And then, like I said, I mean, you are funny, but now you like, I don't have to hide behind that.
Right. Right. And that's what I did like my whole life. Like,
Hmm.
literally.
I
So,
mean, dancing, y'all. Let me tell you,
oh yeah.
Jason was dancing. So I don't know if because we had knee problems and back stuff. It's because he was heavy while you was dancing, or
I
because
think so.
oh,
Yeah, because I had knee surgery 2022, and I still have to go to physical therapy for my knee. But all that irking and jerking and twerking and percolating all everywhere, like at 400 pounds, at 400 pounds, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my knee was like, help.
y'all, I had a video to show y'all. I know while we're talking, because I am at, you probably already saw the pictures. It's gonna be edited in here. Uh, of his before and after.
What pictures? What pictures?
You gave it to see, I stole them.
Oh,
You gave it to me in the when we were on the chat.
oh,
I
okay.
downloaded it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, look at the pictures. That was me irking and jerking and twerking. So, yeah, just imagine.
So yes, I mean, I just wanted to kind of just, like I said, it's deeper than what it seems. And I think, I don't know, I just feel like people are just taking it lightly, and just not to sound so, but I am, because y'all know how I talk on here. I feel like it's definitely like a spiritual thing. Um, it listen, you do got to, this is the time to be as healthy as you could. There's things coming down the pipeline. I mean, they definitely putting stuff in food. Cancer is just, you can't tell me that some of that cancer ain't caused by food. You just can't. So you have to eat as healthy as you can, do what you can, and you should want to. Your body is your temple. You honor everything else. You honor everybody else. You take care of everybody else. You're not selfish for looking after yourself. I think a lot of times we neglect ourselves, and
Yeah.
you have to take care of yourself.
And that's funny you said that because like I literally didn't start for real losing the weight until I was by myself.
Mhm.
Like in my own thoughts, in my own presence, and Tootie came over and bought me a Bible and was like, "This is your housewarming present. Read it." I'm like,
Read it.
I'm like, okay, okay. I'm gonna read the Bible. I'm gonna play Mary Mary on this Alexa and do some push-ups. And I don't know. It's a different space when you can kind of just get in your own head, in your own space, and like meditate, like however that is to someone. That was during the beginning of the pandemic, so a lot of they would bring in health coaches to work for virtually and have us do
Yeah.
the breathing exercises and to get our stress levels down and things like that. I was doing everything like help me. It's pandemic. I don't want to get sick. I wanted a healthy heart and lungs. So if I got COVID, I wouldn't die because it was a scary
Mhm.
time. So
Mhm.
that helped too. Yeah.
And there was a lot of, and I think, and a lot of weight came on. Notice that was stressful. A lot of people gained a lot of weight because we was in
Oh
the
yeah.
house.
Yep.
All the place you could go to was a grocery store.
Yep.
Some of the restaurants was closed, but they were open. You just came and ate, and that became, because I think majority of the extra weight I gained was that. It was just, I'm just comfortable in here eating, frying, and all kinds of stuff.
Like Jesus saving me. I like ain't nobody sick, ain't nobody dying. Like like we up in here. Like we don't have to thank God by eating. We don't have to thank God by gorging ourselves, but we can thank
Right.
Him.
But really, you're trying to cope with the situation. Like
Yeah.
your body, it's telling you you're not okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not okay doing all this eating. But I mean, that was a time though.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm gonna tell you, I was baking, making cakes. Oh, I'm by myself. Then I was trying to get some of my sister and them, but I can't believe it. But yeah, and then it's like when it was time for us to go out, then I can't hardly move. I'm like, you get tired. I don't even want to go to the grocery store. So because of the pandemic, now all these stores have these drive up places where you can
Mhm.
order stuff on the app and you ain't got to go to the store no more. And they kept it. So now it's like we became a little bit more lax. Now it's more convenient and people really ain't getting the exercise that they needed. So when Jason did that walking group, I think people was ready to get out the house,
Yeah.
but they just needed something to do, because everybody is not self-motivated, so that
Well,
was good that he did that.
you remember before the walking group, I used to make you make you come to my apartment complex and walk
Yeah,
around the complex with me.
that was good though. That was
Yeah.
like like it's good to get outside.
Right, right. And that was pandemic. So
Right. That's what look with mask on.
yep.
Somebody come
Yep.
out the building, they too close, put them mask back on. But yes, I mean, I just wanted to kind of discuss that and like I said, to get to the root, because I believe that this is really gonna help somebody. And like I said, if you're looking for drama filled whatever, podcast or whatever, I'm really just trying to teach people just how to live, and health and wellness is part of living that good Christian life. Really important in getting the things that God wants you to have. I don't know. I don't know where it became such a second thought, that your body is not important, your mental health is not important. We just need to bring that to the forefront because some people just doing, let me shut up. Some people just need to sit down and really do think and get themselves together, but I don't know. I pray that this helps someone um with different measures and options. You heard I'm on GLP-1. It's going good. I believe I'm 20 pounds down. Last time I said I was 18 pounds down. So I'm 20. So it's going
Okay.
pretty good. And thank God, everybody had any side effects, constipation or whatever's going on with their stomach. But God has been graceful to me that I haven't had really too bad side effects, maybe being sleepy, cold sometimes. But other than that, I'm pretty good. So I thank God for that. And, like Jason said, his doctor put on metformin. And that was the thing that I emphasized last time. Don't be scared to look for options for help. God had created doctors, created research people to find out better measures for you to take control of your health.
Yeah.
So, because I did it, I was in that mode where I was just like, Jesus, we gonna do it. He said, if you could do it, you would have did it.
Mm.
And I said, oh, well, get me together.
Was
I
that
said,
Jesus
okay.
or was that me? Was that me?
I mean, you confirmed it.
I'm just playing.
But no, like let me say, Jason was breaking me down. So I was asking God for help, but I really did not want to take medication. So this was not an easy way out for me. It was like that moment of truth where I had to make a change. And if I didn't do this, I wasn't gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I didn't take the medication, if I didn't just go into this medical intervention, I wouldn't have did it. And like any kind of other disease that people have, like I said, people have a hard time smoking. They put a patch on,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to have the mindset that they're going to change and not say that the patch is doing it for them.
Right.
So, but Jason, did you have anything to add to the conversation? Anything that you want to leave the living room audience with?
I don't know. I guess I'll leave out with my favorite quote: "The choices you make determine your fate." And that's been my quote since high school, and it's true. From the little to the big, from the rooter to the tutor. The choices you make determine your fate, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's it. Well, my mama always said life is about choices, and it's a lot
She
in there. So
did.
she said life is all about choices. So whatever world you want to live in, you better make better choices. So if you want to live a healthy, prosperous life and want to live long, make better health choices. Put your health at priority. You can't do good to other people until you do good to yourself.
Hmm.
All right. All right. So I thank you guys for tuning in. And I don't want you guys to log off right now. I do have a special message after this. So I want you guys to stay on and listen to the special message. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning into the living room. I pray that the episode blessed your life. Now, I told you guys to stay on because I have a special message for you. I have to give you Christ. Listen, I can't talk about Christ without offering him to you, without showing you how to get him, right? So we're going to start with Romans 10, chapter 10, 9 through 13. And I'm going to read it for you. And listen, it's going to bless you. If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. One believes with the heart, resulting in righteousness, and one confesses with the mouth, resulting in salvation. For the scripture says, everyone who believes on him will not be put to shame, since there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, because the same Lord of all richly blesses all who call on him. All. Listen. For everyone. Listen, it's for all. Jesus is for all. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. That is a promise. So, with this is just not a script. This is not something that you just read and then that's it. This is a heart matter. You have to believe this in your heart if you want Jesus Christ to come into your life. This is the plan of salvation. This showing you steps, what you have to do. You just have to believe and you have to confess it with your mouth, because we know death and life is in the power of the tongue. And once you confess, it's in your heart. You have received Christ today. So if you have received Christ today, I am so proud of you. I'm so happy for you for making this choice. And don't stop there. You go and find a local assembly. Be led of the Lord, and go someplace, a community of believers that will teach you the Bible, that believes in the infilling of the Holy Spirit, and allow God to stretch you. Allow Him to stretch you to the limits and capacity that you never knew that you could arrive to. I promise you, I know the journey. It's not an easy journey, but it's a worthwhile journey. All right. So I thank you for taking this step today, for listening to this and going back to the scripture and also sharing with your family. I pray that this blessed you. I pray that this episode blessed you, because this is part of living. This is part of being in the living room, is to have Jesus included. For in the word, it says that, in Him is life, and that more abundantly. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.